Hello, folks. I'm back. It's Monday, the 5th of June, and I'm about to take my first sip with you. Let me go ahead and shut this. Usually, what I have to do is shut the blinds and the curtain so that, well, now you see the contrast of the video. How are you doing? How am I doing? Well, I'm doing pretty good. I'm actually kind of on the upswing. As I had mentioned a few videos past, for the last couple of weeks I've been dealing with an increase in intensity of my tinnitus. It had gotten so bad that I really wasn't listening to music, all the way up till yesterday. I finally went ahead and looked up some stuff and got this stuff from Walgreens that's supposed to help. And it is, thank goodness. I was really at the point of thinking that, well, here's too much information for you, okay? Since this is my dear diary. Both of my parents were musicians. But when I was an infant, my mom lost her hearing. She went deaf. But along with the deafness, she complained of head noises. Now, my recollection is that we were too poor to be able to afford hearing aids for my mom. And so therefore, there was one instance where maybe I was 6. We went to a doctor and they hooked her up to this big machine where she was able to hear through, and I spoke in the microphone and she heard my voice once. Anyway, all of that has had a bit of a PTSD effect on me, concerning my hearing. That faded over time, but this recent bout of tinnitus had me reflecting back on that. It's like, shoot, I thought I was in the clear, and now what? Do I have head noises? Is this tinnitus going to put an end to my my music life? I was really having thoughts like that. So it's better today. But it has affected my routine. So drinking less coffee, and I also, it seemed that there was a connection to Dole Mandarin, canned Mandarin oranges, which I like. And I'm like a kid. When I like something, I can overindulge sometimes, and I was eating quite a bit of those. And there seems to be a connection. Seems to be. So, unfortunately, as much as I love them, I like fresh oranges, but that canned was kind of like I just really liked them, So, back to natural fruit. So I don't really have many records to show you to talk about that I've listened to, because I've only listened to a couple in the last 3 or 4 days. But I had a nice experience yesterday meeting someone, Brian Day, who runs the Public Eyesore label and is associated with a museum out in San Francisco. Let me know that a musician friend of his was going to be here in town doing a residency at the Bemis, which I'm also a alumnus, Bemis Contemporary Arts Center. Victoria Shin is her name. She goes by the Eviction is her stage name. So he had got a hold of a group of us, because Brian's from Omaha, and said, you guys ought ought to hook up with Victoria, a very interesting person. So I did yesterday. We went out and had, well, I drank water and she drank tea. We met at a coffee house and had a wonderful conversation. Victoria is a sound designer, instrument maker, and to me, a profoundly creative person. And I really enjoyed meeting her and talking, and just talking about all sorts of things. She was on the cover of the Wire magazine last month, along with Maria Chavez. She has some really interesting ideas and things that she does. She's very visceral and in your face with her performances. And she, very interesting woman. So she's got this thing with fingernails where she's got false fingernails and has phonograph styluses on the ends of them, hooked up so that she can play records with her fingers. There's some videos online of this stuff. Fascinating, interesting woman. So she's doing a residency here at the Bemis for the summer, and I'm going to help her. You know, I don't know that it'll end up being a collaboration, something you can hear, but she told me what one of her projects is that she's going to try to, not try to, but one of the things she's going to work on here. I'm going to help with that. So that's the highlight of the weekend. Didn't buy any records. Like I said, barely listened to anything. The last thing I listened to all the way through was this double LP compilation called It Started Here. Innovative tracks from the early electronic explorers, electronic music. And this is good. It lives up to its description. It's also on a neat color vinyl, and when you hold this up to the light, it's marbled. It's pretty. I can't show it to you here, but the lineup on this and the history behind the tracks chosen is perfect. Not perfect, but this is really well researched. So you have everything from Ray Cathode, who is actually, it's right here. He would write a lot of music for cartoons and stuff. I can't see it because of my, but that all the way through to Stockhausen, Tom Disvelt, Luke Ferrari, Daphne Oram, Edgar Varese. It's very entertaining because it's not just blippy sounds. It gives examples of early use of electronics in music and advertising. So this was the last thing that I listened to dedicatedly. Tried to watch, actually as a result of this, I found myself sitting in front of the TV more than usual. And the results were nothing really worth mentioning. You know, I'm really not interested in the focus of Western entertainment, which is it's thrills, chills, blood, horror, drama. Negative. It sucks. So I haven't seen a movie, and I'm not interested in intriguing plots where my friend Jim Fields, if you see this, you know, I know you love movies, and that's part of what you're interested in is scenarios. I'm really not, you know, because I'm in that sense I'm tired of people. To me, human race is very predictable, and so I'm not intrigued by suspense. You know, I'd like to see more beauty in general, just period. Not hokey bullshit stuff that's shoved down our throats about nicey nice. I'm just talking about beauty. I'd like to see more of that, and I don't. So I enjoyed wearing that Magma t-shirt for a couple of days, and I didn't play this, but I pulled it and took a picture of me holding the album. Frankly, this is my least favorite Magma album, Mechanic Destructo Commando. And when I first got this, I didn't like it, and I still really, compared to the other albums, don't really like this one that much. But that emblem, that symbol, is very strong. Victoria recognized it right away, which I kind of figured she would. Really enjoyed talking to her, and she has mutual friends of interest to me. Mike Watt is a good friend of hers, Aaron Dillaway. Maria Chavez, who I've worked with before. Turns out Maria's going to be in town next month, so we'll be looking forward to getting together with her. On behalf of my friends in Moon X, I want to say congratulations, guys. Moon X, I think it's sold out already. Just bam. I've listened more to this. It's interesting. I think it's because I am involved with your music, Dave Newhouse, that this takes longer for me to digest. And so far, this is just coming through a little bit. So it'll take more listens for me to really connect with the whole. The first one, like I said, it was months later that I listened to it, and that's what's going on here. And I really liked it. So that's probably be the same for this new one. But congratulations on selling out. I mean, it's like it just went. I love that, I love that. I love hearing that. Another record that I talked to, Tony, if you see this in Chicago, I haven't met Tony, but his record collection is very similar to mine in a lot of ways. Seems like someone that I would like if I could meet him. He had showed this album saying he had never seen a real copy of it, so I showed mine. The Wake, Here Comes Everybody on Factory Records. Melancholy. They even have a song on here called Melancholy Man, but it's perfect. It fits. This is a very lush, no, that's the wrong word. It's melancholy. There's a hint of lushness, the way they use keyboards on here. But mostly it's the vibe of the band. It's the ambience of the whole album, which is kind of, it's like, it's reflective. And melancholy is a word, and it's gorgeous. I love this album. Here Comes Everybody. Oh, okay. So one of the last things, these are the last records that I listened to as I was dealing with the increase in the tinnitus. It got to the point where it was like literally as loud, and my head as stuff in the room like a fan. It would be as loud as a fan. I was saying to myself, I'm not going to let this drive me crazy, and I am not going to give into the idea that this is a permanent problem. Much better today. Like I say, it's still there, but when I think about it, ever since the late 70s, 80s, I've had this, but mostly I can ignore it. Anyway, another record that I listened to all the way through, and I really enjoyed it. It's like it's not rated. I don't understand why. Pink Floyd, Obscured by Clouds. This is good. This is just good old, simple Pink Floyd. Pink Floyd's always been a simple band in the way that their songs are constructed for the most part. Quarterly, real straight ahead, just a straight line, okay? And this is a really good example of it. This is some movie soundtrack. Still haven't seen the movie. Actually, I did look it up, La Ballet, and it's like, I couldn't get through it. It wasn't that of interest at all. This is one of the remasters on the Pink Floyd Records label. I do have a U.S. copy, do I? Do I have? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. I've had this for a long time. Just making sure it's U.S. and not Canadian. Yeah, this is a U.S. press. And I love the Harvest label. I just love that. They got it right on that design. I love it. So I really enjoyed that. The other album that I played all the way through that I really dug and still dig and think it's a classic, Magazine, Real Life. What, this come out in 1978? The post-punk thing? This is like one of the greatest albums from the end of the 70s. Punk, post-punk, whatever the fuck, you know what I'm saying? There's even aspects of this, to me, that are like almost like prog. Love this album. And yes, I have an early pressing of it. That old Virgin design. Really like this band. Years ago, I got a hold of Barry Adamson by email to just let him know that he was someone who inspired me as a black man doing music outside of the typical. And that's true, the typical. And he responded. It was nice. I still have the email. Actually spoke to me. Oh, I love it. That reminds me to mention this, and don't take it wrong, but my neighbors 2 houses down had a birthday party or some kind of party yesterday. All day outside with the little bitty kids and a bunch of folks coming in. And they were blasting music all day. And a lot of it was modern day hip hop. I don't know what the different sub-genres are, but the stuff where the beat sounds the same every single song, the same tempo, the same beat. But the thing that got me, because I like to sit outside, is I'm hearing the music, so I hear the lyrics. They're so stupid. They're just so stupid. And this is not a reflection on black people per se. It's a reflection on society and where society is at in general and what people find entertaining and the tone of general life. It's pretty mediocre. It has a lot to do with the political trajectory of this country for the last 50 years or longer, where it's just continually dumbing down of the populace, doing everything that favors the top 1-10%, and so the general landscape of regular life is really very mediocre, very dumb, really dumb and reactionary. That's, and to me, the whole design of making people more stupid and just, using us has worked really well, because you have to have awareness that something is amiss, or you have to be taught before you can really become aware of certain things. You catch my drift? In other words, if you've never been taught a higher level of thinking or discernment, then you don't know it, and so you just act on the level you're at because you don't know any better. And that's what I see happening, in particular in my country. People are dumb. And did you notice that in the news? In Chicago alone, this weekend, there was over 52 shootings. 50 in one weekend? Beginning of summer? That's a reflection to me of the mediocrity of life and how people are just, we're on such a low level. Another thing that got my attention, if I'm babbling, but again, this is my channel. I like to check out new music, and there's some new band or some band I never heard of. They put out a video for a track called Sodom and Gomorrah. You folks know about your Bible and stuff. So I went ahead and watched it, And I said, I'll be damned. It's like, it's just really, mm, mm, mm. It's like it's playing it, it's like it's doing it by the rule books. You know, this is what we're supposed to do. And revel in it, you know, that everything is falling apart and people are crazy and obsessed with the wrong stuff, and so we'll go ahead and make money off of it. Anyway, I'm sort of rambling. Pardon me. But for a minute, I wasn't going to get on here and do a video, but I said, let me go ahead and talk, and just let whatever flows, because I noticed that when I just uploaded 2 music videos, and people watch me when I talk, I have much fewer views on the music. Of course, I wish people were interested in my music, more interested, but I have no control over that. I will say this, that I purposely put them in contrast. So I uploaded on Friday a track by my band RAF, which stands for Really Are Fucked, Not Royal Air Force. A song called No Antidote, which is basically about the lead singer's feeling about 1985 and that period of time for the punk scene here in Omaha. And for him, you know, it was like the halcyon days. It was like a moment in time for him that stands out. I remember it not quite the same as him, but I understand. And there was an energy. So it's in that song. It's a very good song, No Antidote. Listen to it. Then I went ahead and uploaded a video I made for On the Crest, which I had uploaded a while back with just pictures of us, the guys playing. But I used some more of that footage that you can use royalty free and focused on clouds. It really came out nicely. But I also did that on purpose to show the contrast. You know, I'm not just one thing. I can do the punk, I can do ambient, I can do jazz, I can do rock. We're still coming up next month, I think it is, or August, the David Nance Band album that I'm on. Completely different from both of those things. Then I just did the thing at Noise Fest where I do noise. So I'm not in one bag. You know, I deleted one comment on the RAF because it's like someone was trying to belittle punk. It's like, you know, you ain't paid attention to me. This is one aspect of me. Okay? I can play it almost any goddamn thing. I'm going to just keep going till I'm done, all right? Because, like I said, it appears that, you know, you folks are mostly interested in what I have to say. The other thing that I am aware of is that I don't know who's watching this. And apparently a lot of people who know me or know of me or who have been in my life watch me pretty regularly to see what's going on with me. Cool, so here you go. Oh, I was going to say that the other thing before I go is I had a real good Zoom with the family Saturday. And childhood trauma came up. And one of the things that I love so much about my family, my sisters especially, but also my nephew Kareem, God, he's a smart man, is that we have all done personal work on our own areas of PTSD. And so it's powerful to talk about things that happened that were harmful, abusive, or weird, especially in childhood, and we dealt with it. You know, something that people don't like to talk about is how common childhood sexual abuse is. And I have to call it that because as a kid, you are not in control. And it was really good the way we talked about Stephanie. You'll recall, because it's like you kind of brought it up, sharing a story which I didn't know, which brought up another story of mine regarding that same person in the neighborhood. And it just made me reflect how, well, probably this is not probably this is what many of us growing up, you have to get through this stuff. It's not uncommon for children to deal with all sorts of kind of bizarre situations, and adults just monging or munching. I just not thinking about how they're treating the kids. So those conversations, the one we had this weekend, was to me was really powerful, uplifting, and I said it to everyone. Stephanie, you'll say, I just love how we can talk about these things and know the truth, which is wasn't our fault, and that there is power in confronting these old issues instead of letting them fester. I've worked with so many people in the mental health industry who don't have a quote-unquote diagnosable illness that is caused by natural factors. It's from trauma. It's from childhood trauma. A lot of childhood trauma, also adult trauma. And they end up on all these meds that all it does is it doesn't help. So anyway, I just want to share that conversation was another highlight of my weekend, and I just love my family so much. So very much. Okay, people, this is a long one. All right, talk to you later.